if you're a busy professional, you understand the importance of focus and how bad, having that brain fog, having that cloudiness in your brain, how much that affects what you do every single day. So here are a couple things that people don't think about: the foods that are reducing your daytime focus and how to eat instead. So if you're eating these kind of things: white bread, loaded coffee, instant oatmeal, cereal, plain bagels, jam, smoothies, pancakes, donuts, pastries, sweetened yogurts, hash brown, white bread sandwiches, white rice bowls, fried chicken, pizza, creamy pasta, salad dressing, fast food. You know that feeling when you blankly stare at your screen? I'm going to make a crazy claim, and I think this is the claim, right? A good amount of that time that you spend in that brain fog actually comes from your diet. What do I mean? Well, there's one thing that you have to watch out for when you're trying to eat and optimize for your focus, and that's foods with a high glycemic index. Okay, so basically your brain gets most of its energy from glucose, right? It just looks like this little molecule. But you have to realize there are different forms that it comes in. And simple sugars, essentially they just have like small amounts of glucose molecules, right? Otherwise, you can have stuff like starch. Starch has a bunch of molecules together, which means it's harder for your brain or your body to digest it and then get it to your brain, right? It takes more effort. It takes longer to actually break down all the glucose molecules to get all of that energy to your brain, because your brain needs glucose. But it's better to have molecules that are attached together, so it's more difficult. And plus, it always, when you eat things that are not just simple sugars, you find that always you get the minerals you need anyway that are good for your brain. So let's go into like why this even matters, right? So simple sugars, essentially when you eat a simple sugar, imagine your brain is intaking all that sugar and it's breaking it down and it's using it for energy. So when your brain uses simple sugars, it's going like this, up, right? This is your sugar peak. You're getting all that energy really quick, and then you go down really fast. That's what's wrong about having simple sugars. If you have just complex carbohydrates, what it will look like is just you're going up, but you don't go too high, and you're staying at the same level for a while, and then you're coming down. Instead of going up and then going down like that. This is the sugar peak, and this would be the place where you have that constant fog in your mind. You can't think of a single thing. That's what simple sugars do to you, and that's what complex carbs and avoiding those simple sugars, how they can benefit you. They last your energy throughout the period that you're trying to work. So, what should you eat, right? I'm not saying that everything that I listed before is terrible for you, but you have to be wary of eating foods that have a lot of added sugars, have a lot of refined carbohydrates, and a lot of processed foods, because always you'll find that these kind of foods have a high glycemic index, which means it's easy for your brain to get that instant sugar spike. Your blood sugar is rising. It's not good for your health in general in the long term, because it makes you more prone to diabetes. But anyway, essentially, it's not good for your brain because you have those spikes, right? So what you should eat are low carbohydrates, high in omega-3s, which protect your brain cells and enhance your cognitive function, antioxidants, and minerals. You want to have these kind of things in your diet. And so a couple ways to get that is you always want to have proteins with your meals. They have a good amount of nutrients, minerals, antioxidants, and omega-3 fatty acids, and they don't have any carbs at all. So good recommendations for this are eggs, chicken breast, salmon. Salmon is actually amazing. I'm going to talk about it in a second, but I'll tell you why in a little bit. Next, you want to have complex carbs. All right? I'm not saying you have to cut out all the carbs, but always try to focus on having carbs that are much harder to digest than all the simple sugars we talked about before. So that means stuff like whole grain bread, stuff like quinoa, stuff like chia seeds. Chia seeds are really good. I'm going to talk about that in a second as well. And then sweet potatoes, right? These are the complex carbs that you want to have. They're much more starchy. It's more difficult to turn into simple sugar. It's more difficult to turn into easy glucose for your brain to access, which means you have a prolonged period of attention and focus. Next is healthy fats. So on this page, I should have actually included chia seeds as well. So we have avocados, nuts, and all those are all just really good healthy fats to get your calories if you're not having that many carbs. But the beauty of chia seeds, so chia seeds right here and salmon, are because they have omega-3 fatty acids, and it's really good for your brain. Your brain really needs those kind of nutrients. And when you intake those, you'll find that you have much better cognitive function, right? And then that's in the long term. That's not going to happen in one day. So all the other foods that I listed before, if you eat them, you're most likely going to have a crash in the afternoon. You're most likely going to have a crash, soon after you eat it. If you consistently eat foods with high omega-3 fatty acids, you'll find in the long term you have better focus, better attention. And another category of food, fruits and vegetables, they have a lot of minerals, as I said before, that's really good for you. And then legumes, again, these are kind of carbohydrates, but they also have a lot of protein, minerals, and omega-3 fatty acids. So that's really only one part of the puzzle, right? Nutrition is a big part of the puzzle, but it's not everything. And another thing that I found that's really helped me is to actually exercise. Exercising increases brain blood flow. It releases neurotransmitters like dopamine, norepinephrine, serotonin, and increases resting metabolism. There have been some studies to show that people who exercise regularly have a 20% better cognitive abilities than those who don't, right? Better focus. I'm not sure exactly what the stats are on that, but it's pretty clear that once you start exercising regularly, you will be a more healthy person. And if you are releasing neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, which help your sense of calm and focus, obviously you're going to be at least a little bit more focused. So if you're a busy professional, which I assume you are, if you're watching this video and want to have better focus, I help people exercise efficiently. So that means less than 3 hours a week from home using gymnastic rings. I basically help them, do the natural form of exercise, and I help them do it from home, right? I don't want to take all of your time. I don't want to take more time than it's needed. I want you to get the most efficient results that you could get in 7 hours. I want you to get that in 3 hours. That's what I mean by efficient. So if you're interested in that, you can check the link in the description, or you check the link that's right below, and it'll take you to a place where you can apply to learn more. I hope you have a good one.